evening, everybody.
No, we're not
Welcome
racing
to the
tomorrow
Great
night. We're
American
doing a film
Auto
shoot.
Scene. Look at this.
We're going online right now. All right, guys, take care. Bye.
Merry Christmas from
Oh,
us.
isn't it amazing? That mover and shaker Bob right there.
Look
This
at
guy.
him. He's
What?
addicted to his phone.
It's amazing. He's taking business calls. He's taking calls about the show while the show is on, man. I have never met a more mover and shaking guy than
Fell off my
that
chair.
hot rod Bob. She would be Anna Octane right there. I'm Bruce Barkin. Boy, can you tell sugar plums and visions are dancing in our heads.
Hi, I'm Bob Beck.
Hi, Bob Beck.
And I have a
Welcome
phone
back
problem.
to the show.
Welcome back. I have a phone problem. Actually, we got a call from Ali, who we've had on the show before, and he has got one of the world's quickest Subarus, or Scions. I'm not sure which body it is.
Oh, yeah.
He's got one of the 6-cylinder Subaru motors. Now, they had that for a short time on the
It was the WRX?
no, it was not on the WRX. It was on a special little sports car they made,
Oh.
which was an amazing car. But it had so much horsepower and torque out of the 6-cylinder, the only thing they ever tied it to was an automatic transmission, which it kept launching and blowing apart anyway. But it was a cool car. Anyway, he's got that stuffed into one of the Subaru Scion cars. And it is just an amazingly powerful machine, because after that, all Subaru focused on was their 4-cylinder turbos.
Sure.
Well, this thing turboed makes the 4-cylinder look like a wimp.
That is amazing.
So Ali was talking to me about coming out to Irwindale drag strip while it's still open, because, again, ladies and gentle people, Irwindale Speedway and drag strip closes down January 31st. Now, we're dark tomorrow night. They're doing a movie shoot there, so we're not going to be able to race tomorrow night. But every night, every Thursday until the 25th. 25th is our last drag race.
Yeah.
27th is our last night of destruction at Irwindale. So, but the facility shuts down January 31st unless you happen to know someone who would like to buy the facility and keep it as a race facility, which I'll tell you what, I'd love, and I would love to stay working there. I'd love to stay working is the problem.
Yeah.
But that's what we're up against right now. We just had the last Moon Eyes this past weekend there, unless the place stays open again. And it's sad to see a premier race facility. It is the only short track and drag strip in L.A. County. And it is going away.
And it sounds kind of dumb because it sounds so advertising to say this, but it's centrally located. I mean,
Yes.
you can't put a track, at least there's no dead land between here and the state line practically.
No, and it's surrounded by gravel pits and dumps and things of that nature, so it's not something where the people living around it are complaining.
Yeah.
I mean, people can hear it a distance away, but we always stop racing by 10 o'clock when we do race. We had 2 NASCAR events per month, plus NHRA drag racing once a month, and Test and Tune,
What
or
are they going
TNT.
to put there instead? I mean,
Right
this is
now, we don't
awful.
know what's going on. At this
my
point, it
goodness.
appears to be going to be dormant until someone can
Wow.
pick up the stick and run with it. But at this point, Irwindale's dead. Now, the other bad news, I just got word the other day, Rocky Mountain Raceway, just outside Salt Lake City,
I know.
is closing down the end of 2018. Now, that track facility was sold 5 years ago, much like Irwindale was sold 5 years ago.
Oh, okay.
And
That
in the
sort of
case of
story.
Irwindale, they initially wanted us to build a mall. Ain't going to happen.
Huh.
That's dead. You hear someone say, well, they're building a mall. No, nothing's happening. They're not building anything. Not sure what's happening at Rocky Mountain. But
Commercial
we do know
development.
it probably is, but they tried to get an extension of their lease. That didn't happen. So at the end of this year, Rocky Mountain's closing down. That is the only racing facility in,
Utah.
well, not just
From
Utah, but just
1968.
in the Salt Lake City general area.
Wow.
So they're losing motocross, they're losing a circle track, they're losing a drag strip.
And they're losing a huge amount of money for the
businesses in the area.
right? Because it's
Right.
the only racetrack on the other side of Bonneville that brings money into the area.
Exactly.
So I don't understand. You know, if drag racing is a cultural phenomena to the United States, and we're supposed to honor and celebrate it, why are we killing all our drag race tracks?
Not quite sure. Not quite
so
sure.
upset.
All right, I've got us on Facebook Live right now. We got Anna Octane on screen. We're just a little bit slow. If you've got a question for us tonight, I'm going to be monitoring Facebook. Give us a call. The number 800-809-0802. 800-809-0802. Call us. We'll answer whatever question you've got about the topic we're talking about. So think about that. I'm monitoring, just like in the old days when we had Speed Scene and we'd monitor you guys' comments.
That's right.
Well, I'm going to do it again. I'm trying something new. I'm trying to multitask. For an old fart like me, it's a little difficult, but we're going to do it. Now, on the phone with us right now is Casey Nunes. And Casey, you just did a show. We were at, my friend Randy Cardoon and I helped you out with the awards, and we did some podcasts from there. Tell us what's going on.
Hi, it's actually Cassie.
Cassie, I'm sorry.
And thank you so much for coming out. I can't tell you how appreciative I am and all of our volunteers were that you came out and helped. It was a huge honor to have you guys announcing the show.
Thank you. We had fun. As a matter of fact, if you look on Facebook, you'll find some of the pictures. We had so much fun. The people that were in front of us didn't know it, but the cameraman was laughing his proverbial butt off. And we even kind of spoofed your sister while she was there.
Yeah.
It
She
was
thinks
fun.
you two are. She thinks you two are interesting.
Yeah,
to say the least.
yeah, interesting. Let's see. She's 20-something and we're 60-something. Yeah, we're interesting. Yeah, that's a nice way of saying we're old farts. I understand. Okay. Just kidding. So, Cassie, what's going on?
So I just wanted to announce, if people hadn't heard already, that we actually not only broke, but we destroyed our goal of money raised for the American Diabetes Association.
Great.
Wow.
Yeah, our goal initially was $5,000, and we raised $6,850.
Wow, that's great. That's fantastic. That's good. Now, you got plans to do the show again next year, right?
I do. I'm
right.
already starting to plan it.
Good. Well, you can count on Randy and I being there again, so we'll help you out. And for those of you, when we say Randy, for those of you outside the L.A. area, Randy Cardoon is the sports anchor for KNX Radio here in the Los Angeles area, and he and I have partnered together to do things like Cassie's show, where we'll do the awards presentations and we do podcasts from different events. So if you have that interest, just contact us on Facebook or send us an email, and we'll let you know what our schedule is and what we need to do. All right, well, that's great. Now, you're also going to be working on some other shows, I understand.
I am actually. I'm putting together a festival for April to raise money and awareness for Autism Speaks.
Okay.
And that's another program in LA that helps raise awareness and support for autism, and it's the entire spectrum.
Well, good.
So, Asperger's and all of that, it's going to benefit all of those situations.
Well, good.
Don't do it on the second weekend of April, though, because Drag Fest is happening, and that's going to be a zoo. Everybody's
Yeah.
going to be at Drag Fest.
Yeah, Randy and I are definitely going to be there. So, don't do that, because we won't be able to be there.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't gotten a date yet. We're
Okay.
just going around, getting all the logistics figured out.
Okay.
Because it's going to be a concert. There's going to be kids' games there. There's going to be a car show. It's going to be a big thing.
Well, good. Let us know more when you get close to coming up with a date. We'll put it here on Gas. Let everybody know about it.
Absolutely. And again, thank you guys for supporting us.
Not a problem, Cassie. Take care, and hope you get your Chevelle running again soon.
Yeah, I hope so too. It's been pretty rough, but I have faith that, karma will come around and I'll get myself back on the road eventually.
All right, sounds good. Cassie, thank you very much for calling in. We got to move on. We got a full house tonight here at the Great American Auto Scene.
All right. Thank you.
Take care now.
Man, it looks like a lot of great cars at that show, Bob.
Yeah, there were, and I don't know if you've had some of the pictures of Randy and I doing our shtick as we were doing the award presentation, but we had a blast. It was like a stand-up comedy routine with us too, and as we get here on the show, well, Randy and I got that way too. But while we had Cassie's sister, who's a model and is going to have her new show on Netflix this year. She wouldn't tell us or next year. She didn't tell us what the name of the show was because it's going to be introduced shortly. But she was the trophy person.
Yeah, how cool
and
is
while
that?
she was doing the trophy presentations to the individuals, Randy and I were behind doing our shenanigans.
Oh, boy.
And the cameraman a couple of times just about fell off his chair. So we were having a kick. It was a great time. The show was great. Well over 100 cars. As she said, she had a goal of 5,000. She had over $6,000 in revenue for the charity.
Excellent.
And no one got paid to be there. Everyone was volunteering, from the band to the DJ to Randy and myself, and we had a kick. It was great. And the thing about it was, since it wasn't in Los Angeles, it was up in the Ventura area, there were a lot of cars we hadn't seen.
Yes.
A lot of cars that don't go to the shows in the L.A. area. Now, not that it's that far. It's only an hour away. But a lot of the guys don't come down to the crowded L.A. area. So we had cars that came from North Santa Barbara and the Ventura area that came down to Newbury Park, California for this show. And it was great.
Yeah. That's good stuff. Man, and that's a great sort of area to have a car show because it's not rural, but there are a few more trees and a few more country roads there.
Yes.
Some fun driving in the...
Well, the other thing, too, is the venue was at the MB2 go-kart track.
Oh.
So you had indoor go-kart racing you could do while you were there at the car show.
Oh, brilliant.
And so it was neat. All right, we're live here on Facebook. I'm Hot Rod Bob, along with Bruce Parker and Anna Octane. If you've got a question for us regarding some of the guests we're going to have on tonight, we've got some call-ins, we've got some topics we're going to go over.
By the way, here's some really, really quick footage.
Oh, nice.
Had the link in a Christmas parade over the
cool.
weekend, thanks to Ed over at TMPC. The motion picture
the car
club
guy. Yeah,
Ed, the car guy, and small town parades are kind of fun because they're it's not a giant production like the Pasadena Rose Parade or something or other where everything is very critically ready to go and this sort of thing. So it's just this sort of mongrel collection of cars, including one the Automobile Driving Museum in El Segundo brought out a 1960 Bonneville.
Oh.
And so much of this stuff, parade cars are not really show cars because they're meant to be beat on a little bit. You're stuck there in traffic driving 1 mile an hour, hoping your car doesn't overheat, hoping the generator can keep up with an idling engine for, that long distance. And, and then very often at a smaller parade, you're loading just local business owners into your car. In my case, it was a local restaurateur and 3 little kids. And, within 10 minutes, those kids were jumping out of their skin because they were so bored.
Yep.
So I was going, oh, man, I got some really nice upholstery in this car. I got to make sure things don't get beat up and whatever. And after a while, you just go, look, man, this is what a car is for. People are supposed to ride in it. You're supposed to drive it. I can't be Mr. Pristine and hope everything survives because it won't survive everything. Nothing does. But, there we are.
Echo
Did
Park.
you have a Christmas hat on?
I did.
That's awesome.
You didn't want to burn his head.
What a beautiful
Come on.
car.
That's right.
Sexy headlight.
Sunburn. We're in Southern California.
That's right.
Christmas at 80 degrees here.
And it was out of the wind, so it was kind of toasty. The kids were going, oh man, I wish we brought along some water, and
Yeah.
But
Look at that fabulous mid-century modern front end.
I love that Lincoln.
Is that like a car from Mars or what?
That is one of my most favorite Lincolns, and it was almost
Awesome.
like a custom car. If you look at a lot of the customs from that era, they used the Lincoln headlights.
yeah.
To put canted headlights on their custom cars, on their hot rods.
Yeah, they a lot of them
the
did.
59 Chevy headlights, they put them on an angle.
Right. Same kind of idea.
Yeah, same kind of idea, and it was just an amazingly beautiful car.
Do you want to hear a little tidbit? Go back to that
Show
grill.
me a tidbit.
Tell me a
tidbit.
The square grill on that car
Yes.
is actually kind of influenced by the Ferraris.
Is it?
They have the square egg. It's called the egg crate grill.
Oh.
And it's really nice to see it on an American car as well.
And of course, the backside of these cars have that same. It's kind of tough to tell here, but they have that same egg crate, pattern in the whole tail panel as well, as did the Thunderbirds for that year.
Yes, they did. And if you want to see a real, someone's taken one and customized it, which is kind of interesting to do to one of these because they look so custom, is go to Kendig, Dave Kendig's site,
Kendig.
and he just did one. Bitch and Rides did a whole story on it.
He did a Thunderbird?
A Lincoln.
Oh.
And he took, how your front end is, the front wheels are this kind of a scalloped area.
Yes.
He did that in the rear.
Oh, nice.
So it matched.
Interesting.
And it looked like it was supposed to be there.
What do you know?
So, Lincolns are, you don't see too many of those Lincolns around. They were expensive to buy, they were expensive to maintain, and the average person didn't buy them.
Yeah.
So when they became used on the market, they were too expensive to maintain. People didn't keep buying them. So there's very few of them remaining, and your convertible is a very rare piece.
Yeah, because I know new, at least for that year, there was about 3,000 made. So, attrition, there's a lot less of them now. So.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's almost a factory futuristic concept car because they were taking design cues from aviation and NASA, and that was a very space age car. It's beautiful.
Well, it's also,
Love it.
it's surprisingly square for a period. Late 50s, everything was quite roundy, especially General Motors cars were very, a 58 Chevy or a 58 Cadillac is very rounded, very 50s looking.
And Ford was very angular.
Yeah, already angular. It was 2 or 3 years before that was going to happen kind of across the industry.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What can you do?
Yeah, there you
All
go.
right,
Can
Anna,
I say
you...
something?
Oh,
Rob Ida is building a concept Tucker with the turret seats that rotate around and around.
Yep.
And you
concept
just remind,
Tucker.
yeah, it's amazing. It's going to be beautiful. And I don't know if it's for Sean Tucker or not.
well, now is it a steel car, or are they using one of the reproduction bodies?
It's a steel car.
So he found one that someone would relinquish.
Either that or they fabricated it completely.
There was one that showed up at SEMA this year, and it was a fabricated body.
Did it have the turret seats, the 3 turret seats?
I don't know. It
Bruce
had
can pull that up. It's
the doors
awesome.
were closed, but one side was high tech, one side was low tech, so it looked like an original Tucker. But and I didn't look at the engine. I believe someone told me it was an LS series mounted in the back.
Yeah, I think so.
But gorgeous
Beautiful.
machine. I've always liked the Tuckers anyway.
Yeah, but apparently the rotating turret was a concept car that never got done.
Oh, there's the car from the SEMA show.
Is that from the SEMA show? Well, the one...
Oh, Rob Ida. Well, maybe that's the one that was on display at the SEMA show. Was Rob Ida's car?
I don't know, but there is an Instagram video on Rob's page where the interior actually turns around. It's 3 seats and it keeps going. Oh God, it's so amazing.
That can make me dizzy.
No, it's awesome. It's a Disney ride.
You can't do that while
Yeah.
you're you can't do that while you're driving.
Okay,
No.
let's see what we've got here. This is, I guess, the fabrication.
Yeah, a lot of fabrication.
There is a video, I don't know, maybe it was just recent, where the seats, see, that's all steel. That's all steel,
Wow,
man.
that
That's
is a
amazing.
lot of
Real
work.
steel.
Wow.
Boy, oh boy. And isn't it funny? All cars at some point looked like that.
Now, those cars were nicknamed the torpedoes, but Preston Tucker didn't want them called that because it was right after World War II in 1948.
Oh, yeah.
And he thought it was bad PR. But they took a lot of design cues from aviation as well. They're very streamlined. They're low. They're fast. They do about 100 miles an hour. Wait, Porsche!
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was cool.
I think we ran
it
through
wasn't.
the Tucker shots.
Yeah, it is.
That was a Porsche.
No, that was a cool little Porsche.
Oh, yeah, it was a speedster.
Do you know?
No.
Okay, never mind.
I never did. What do we have in mind? Never mind.
Porsche started with Hitler with the VW Beetle in 1930.
Well, it started with the VW Beetle.
Yeah.
Yes. But
And then-
Ferdinand Porsche came up with a sports car.
Yeah.
And once he got out of jail, because he was locked up during World War II as a prisoner of war.
Well, he was using slave labor
Yeah, but
in BMW, wasn't he?
no, he wasn't
No.
a BMW.
Who was it? Who was using slave labor?
I don't know.
Oh, well, okay. Well, he was very
It depends on who you talk to. It could have been someone here in the United States. I mean, Thomas Jefferson, for all we know.
Yeah.
I mean,
That was
it
the
just-
very early Tucker.
very early
Thomas
Tucker, yeah.
Jefferson wasn't. He was having
He was.
affairs with his slaves.
Yes, he was.
He's very naughty too.
Well,
a lot of naughty elves before Christmas.
He could be on that list right now. It's who's going to be the scapegoat du jour or whatever you want to call him.
The scapegoat du jour is a good, the statue du jour.
The statue du jour, yeah. Which statue are we taking down this week? Anyway, that's political. We're going to get off that subject. Anna, you've got something else for us to talk about regarding vehicle search and seizure.
Yes, it's not nice.
It's not nice.
They can take your stuff and your car and not convict you and still keep your stuff. That's not very good.
Wait a minute.
Yes, what? Yes. They can stop you. And
who's they?
The police.
Okay.
Okay, I wrote it down.
I see that.
Okay, so
can you read your writing?
No.
We've got a web page here that talks a bit about this. License to Steal, of course, is how they've titled it.
Yes, there it is. So, if the police think that you are engaged in illegal activity, distress, alarm, or harassment with your vehicle, they can stop you. They can seize your vehicle and the property in the vehicle, and they can keep it even if you're not convicted. So once you go through the courts, you've got 45 days to 90 days to up to a year up for your money, but 45 days to 90 days to get your property back, and they don't have to give it back to you.
That is troublesome.
And that's now the saving grace to that, strangely enough, here in California, they can't do that. If
Well,
you're
it's
not,
good revenue, though, too.
well, it's good revenue, but in California, if you're not convicted, they have to return the property.
But you have to petition for it. You just don't get it back.
Right.
If you don't petition for it, it's bye-bye after a year.
Bye-bye, yeah, and it's gone. So,
And then they auction it off and raise money for the police department, or whatever they do
well,
with
and
it.
they're not supposed to. It's not supposed to be revenue for the police departments, but that's what it's turning into. Yeah. So what you need to do is you need to contact your congressperson. You need to get with SEMA and become a member of SAN, the SEMA Action Network, because these are the people that are fighting this to try and get it. I mean, if they take your car justifiably, you're street racing. They grab it. You're dealing in drugs. You're doing something illegal, an illegal activity. That's one thing. But if they just pull you over with suspicion of doing something, they can confiscate your vehicle.
Man.
And that's the problem. In California, luckily, they can't do that. So you need to check and make sure in your area what the laws are, and then contact SEMA, get behind them, because they're the ones that are fighting this right now.
Yeah. Wow.
Bob's pocket is ringing next to me. It's. I think it's harassment.
Is that a bell in his pocket?
There's a bell in his pocket.
And it's in my back pocket, so that is... No, that's... Not, no, if it's in your pocket, it would be
in your back pocket right there.
If it was in your back pocket, it would be harassment. It's not. So, on that note, I think we need a commercial, Bruce. What do you think?
I think you're so right. Wow, it's tough to touch any subject anymore.
I know.
Wow.
We can make fun of any subject right now.
There you go. Well, okay.
Okay.
All right.
We're going to have a fabulous vintage commercial.
I think we might.
Yes.
Let's see what we got going.
Well, boys, I'm going to news that a radio on the screen like this has a much shorter studio action than the short screens that you find on most cars. The radio license, no sir. Function cards, one, appear with his
Well, that was all very clear if you're a duck. But here's what Donald was trying to teach the boys. See these two pairs of springs? These are longer and wider than these shorter, stiffer springs. Now, everybody knows that a longer, wider spring like this has a much softer, smoother action than the short springs that you find on most cars. But not on Hudson's. No, sir. Hudson cars are built with these exclusive deep coil springs to give you a ride that's 3 times softer and smoother. They're safer, too. Here's why. These deep coil springs are placed above the center of gravity. In most cars, the short springs are below the center of gravity. It's easy to see the Hudson with its deep coil springs is much more stable on turns and curves. There's little or no uncomfortable swing and sway in a Hudson. Here's another thing you'll like about the brand new Hudson Hornet. You have your choice of the latest, greatest of the V8 engines, the Hudson Hornet V8 or the famous National Championship 6. American Motors has really rolled out the red carpet with the completely new Hornets and Wasps. See them. Drive them at your Hudson dealers now.
All right, welcome back to, what are we on? We're at gas. We've got gas here on Great American Auto Scene. How are you doing tonight? We're doing great. We're a little confused. We're having fun. We are going to be here tonight for you, and then we're going to take a break for the holidays. No matter whether you're celebrating Hanukkah, which has started last night, Christmas, Kwanzaa, whatever holiday you observe, happy holidays to you.
Yeah, and if images all over the country, all over the world, of course, since this show is planetary wide.
Yes,
boy, there's snow
worldwide.
falling in some parts, and there's the heat of summer in Australia all at the same time.
We've got people in Britain right now watching, Sweden, like you said, Australia down there. We've got some guys watching right now. We can see you. We know you're there. Thank you for tuning in. What we're going to go into now is because a lot of the East Coast is of this country and Sweden, where a lot of our friends are at right now.
And my 58 Ford
and
is
your
there.
58 Ford's there. Oh my gosh! And it is covered in snow. You know, kind of like that song, "My Woody's outside covered in snow." Well, it doesn't matter whether it's a Woody or convertible or a hardtop. It's covered in snow.
There you
so
have it.
you can't go out and do your hot rodding. I mean, unless you got snow tires on your hot rod. You can't go drag racing unless you've got studded snow tires, and even then, where are you going to go drag racing? And who's going to drag race in the snow anyway? Although I understand in North Dakota they have ice drag racing. But what do? You want to race. This is what you do.
Yeah.
Autoworld has got a drag race set for you. It's HO scale. It'll fit just about anywhere. 26 feet. It's 1/64th scale. And depending on the track you get, it's got a return road, which basically makes it a NASCAR oval. So you can run ovals as well. But it's got your timing lights. It's got your finish line. It's got Pro Stocks. It's got Top Fuel. It's got funny cars. Now, here's the two Pro Stock cars. This is my particular set.
Is that your car back there?
That is my cars.
No,
yes.
that little black
one.
with the flames.
That's a little Willys. It looks like my car.
yours.
It looks like my hot
yeah.
rod.
Yeah.
So here we got
Wow.
this to tell you how old this is. Jegs hasn't had a Pro Stock car in how long?
Okay,
But there's the Jegs Pro Stock car. There's the Summit Pro Stock car. And they even come with wheelie bars. And they need them.
Oh,
Wow.
interesting. They generate that much.
They generate that kind of acceleration. Now, behind it, you see the gassers. There's two gassers.
Okay. Yeah.
There's the Moon Eyes Willies
Hey.
alongside the Flamed Willies.
Wow.
Now, look
Where
at the
do we get
slicks.
these?
You can get these from Auto World.
Now,
We'll go online to show their website in just a little bit. Here's some funny cars. Jack Beckman's old Valvoline car and Robert Heith's
Wow.
Auto Club car.
this is amazing because I had assumed, I didn't assume this, but I knew that slot cars back in the day when I had a couple of sets, they've morphed a little bit, but a lot of the technology really is the same. But I didn't know you could get a set that's got some of the current, somewhat current racers and stuff.
Well, Auto World is reproducing all of the cars from the Aurora days and the TFX days and things of that nature.
God, that's
and
cool.
they're putting different bodies on them. Now, there's companies that are also making resin bodies for these cars, so you can have just about any type of car you'd like, and the detail is exquisite on these cars. As you can see from these, it's very readable, and this is an HO car. We've got a photo coming up in a little bit to give you a rough idea of the size. You can see this is the Pontiac GTO.
man.
Oh, my
Look at the
goodness.
size of the car, and that's an Energizer AA battery.
Wow, you're right. Look at the graphics. Everything is
Yeah.
sparkling clear.
Everything is really clear, and it's going to be fun. I'm going to set it up in my house. I've got it, and we're going to set it up and have some fun. I've got a whole series. Now, that one you just saw, the Flame Willies, if you look at the tires, those are the original AFX. That's an original AFX car. That's not the current reproductions. Because if you look at the Moon car, you can see the tires on the Moon car.
Yeah, we'll see that.
Go back
car.
and you can see the difference in the tires.
I know it's
There it is. Look at the tires in the back of the Moon gasser.
Oh, completely different.
Completely different. And look at how wide they are.
Yeah.
That little car will pick the front end up.
That's so awesome.
I mean, it will do wheelies.
That is so weird considering it's an electric.
It's an electric little car, and it's great. Now, a lot of places have regular slot car tracks. Buena Park, California has a drag strip at their slot car track, commercial track, and it races every Wednesday night. And some of the NHRA regulars show up there on Wednesday nights.
Wow.
But you can see, here's the side view of some of the cars. But look at the tires on the back of the Moon Eyes Willies.
I'm going to assume,
They're
Bob,
big.
that these are compatible with since they're
The older
reproductions.
Aurors.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which is what we had. We had Tyco, I think,
Tyco and Aurora, right?
Yeah.
And these are compatible. As a matter of fact, the Willys are the 3-gear. What do they call them? T-jets.
Yeah, yeah.
These are reproductions. The black one's the original one. The yellow one is the reproduction of the 3-gear Aurora cars.
Which it was a set of gears that faced up. The gears were flat, horizontal, and they were brass.
Yeah, and as a matter of
visible
fact, I
from the
think one of the
top,
photos we have, one of the early photos you showed, has the chassis with the body off.
Oh,
So you can
man.
see what it is. These are a little bit longer, a little bit bigger than the Willys.
Okay.
But as you can see, they've got real working wheelie bars.
That's amazing.
And these are the funny cars. This is Fast Jack Beckman's Valvoline car that he ran a number of years ago.
Wow.
That tells you how old my set is.
Yeah. Now, what is it like to put these cars? Well, that would be just ridiculous. I was going to say, with a the long nose, the dragster style.
Yeah.
What happens on a circle track, like on the return road? What happens with this car? It just sort of slings it around.
You
a little
know,
bit?
it's probably going to tip over because it's got a really narrow track, or width of the body, and it's very long. You can see right there in the center. There's a pin coming down.
Yeah.
That is where it actually stays in the track, in the groove. Instead of it being all the way in the front like it is in the shorter wheelbase cars,
Right.
it's in the middle to try and keep it a little bit more stable.
Yeah, and of course, if it was all the way back where the electrical pickups are back there, the runners.
Right, and you can see those right where the canards are.
Sure. Amazing.
So does the cars come with the track?
Yes.
Oh, wow. How
Well,
many?
some of the cars,
4?
2 cars. Now there's
two?
there's the early motor, the cars, and there's the chassis.
Yeah.
Underneath them,
Yeah.
you can see the Valvoline, the Ron Capps Napa car, the Jegs, and the Summit Pro Stock.
What do you know?
What a perfect gift for a hot rodder.
Yeah, and you can get them, Bruce. If you can pull up Auto World, AW, we can find the track there. They're around $150. You can check it. You can find them on eBay. I got that one on a special deal. It was just over $100 plus shipping, and shipping was like $15, $20. So $125 or so. I got myself a race set. And it's a neat piece. Auto World is reproducing a lot of cars, a lot of slot cars, HO and so forth, from the 60s. They've got the rights to them, and they're reproducing them. They've got NASCAR. They've got drag cars. They've got, you name it. If it's in HO form, they have a whole bunch. You can go to them. You can search their site. You can find the drag kit. Now, they even private labeled these drag sets. Western Auto had it for a while. John Force was selling his version with his cars in it.
That's
and you might check the
cool.
John Force site and see if they've got any of those left. They're also reproducing, there's the old AMT parts kits. Auto World has been around since the 60s, building or selling slot cars, model kits, and all sorts of other things.
That's the darndest thing. Because, we had ours. There was a lot of sort of road racing vehicles that were out as well. Some of the GT40 type cars.
Yes.
There was one called a Chaparral. I don't know what that
Chevrolet Chaparral. That was Jim Hall.
Okay. And, it's amazing to see this stuff back in circulation.
Yeah.
I'm loving this.
And now, if you want to get into something a little bit larger, 1/32nd scale has got a lot more detail and a lot more choices. And that's the cars that I race. I belong to a slot car club here in Southern California called Far Out Race Team, On the Hill Gang, whatever. We've got a number of different names. We've got a Facebook page as well. And we race every 2 weeks. As a matter of fact, the club and racing was just a article in the Los Angeles Times.
Well, what do you know?
And they talked about the aging of the hobby because the average guy that runs this thing is in the late 50s, early 60s. But you can get 1/32nd scale that are extremely detailed. They're actually models that you can race.
Well, and of course, most of us as kids built 1/24th scale, which
Right.
was a little larger.
Which was larger. And then the home kits were primarily 1/32nd scale. The 1/24th were primarily the commercial.
Okay.
And I've got some of those too. There's a commercial track just a couple of miles from my house in Buena Park, and I can go racing there. And I have a couple of times. I haven't been able to find a weekend off to go, and I go out a couple of times on Wednesday nights, meet and greet with some of the NASCAR guy or the NHRA regulars that run drag racing slot cars. Now, just to give you an idea, we got a youngster, Troy Barton, who races not only a junior dragster and took a lot of runs. I think he was a champion this year in NHRA in Division 7. But he also runs a slot car drag car. He had 3 perfect lights in a row racing his slot car. And then he came out to Irwindale and got a couple of perfect lights there with his junior dragster.
Jeez.
So this kid is racing. He comes from a family of drag racers. Donnie, his grandfather, started out with the Clownin' Around cars. He's got a 55 Chevrolet. He runs Super Gas. His son, Todd, ran a number of different cars, now runs a Super Comp dragster. And now Troy, the third generation, is running a junior dragster and slot car drags as well.
What do you know? And that perfect reaction time is just, well, there you go.
There you go.
The controls are completely different, but the idea is the same.
The concept's the same. Yeah. So indoor drag racing.
How
something
about
you can
it?
do. It's something you can do in the wintertime. Get the guys over. A number of guys on the East Coast that I know have drag strips and road courses in their basements.
Do you know if back in the day, back in the 60s or the 70s, did they market drag racing slot cars? I don't recall it, but
yeah.
I was out there.
Parma is one of the companies that makes a ready-to-race chassis. Parma. And I had one.
Yeah.
I didn't keep it. I traded it for another car because most of what I do is road racing.
Sure.
However, Dragfest.
I was
Dragfest.
into Hot Wheels.
You were into Hot Wheels?
Yeah, and
So
you
was
know
I.
what's good about
Yep.
Hot Wheels tracks? You can separate them, turn them into swords, and beat
It's
your
true.
brothers with them. You
Yeah,
can't do
and
that with the slot car track.
Well, it replaces the hollow tube that you get after you've done your Christmas wrapping.
Well, it sort of does. You know, the thing we had troubles with Hot Wheels tracks, though, was that, you know, they had the sort of magenta-colored tongue that would connect
Yeah.
the two orange track
Right.
pieces. Well, the little rails that held the orange track, you know, that held that tongue together, a lot of times those would tear out after a while. And, well, maybe that was their planned obsolescence to buy more track.
Buy more track, yes.
Buy
We
more
used to have to make, we used to run out of those pieces that held them together.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
So we'd take whatever we could find, plastic or cardboard, and cut new ones to put in there because we kept breaking them. But now, from what I understand, Anna, and you can confirm this with Stormy, we are going to have slot car drag races at Dragfest.
Yes, with an 80-foot track.
Oh.
It's going to be fabulous.
So we're going to have outside drag
Yeah.
racing on the drag strip. We're going to have drag racing in the pits on a slot car track at famous Auto Club Famoso Raceway for Dragfest coming this April.
April, the second weekend in April at Auto Club Famoso.
Okay.
It's a 3-day circus and festival with music and all kinds of stuff, and a drag race is going to break out.
Yes. And we're going to have
They were
lots of
talking
drag
about
racing.
midgets flying in, parachuting in, but I don't think we're going to do that.
And by the way, she's talking, because we're in such a politically correct world, she's talking about midget racers.
Midget racers,
I'm
yes.
sorry, the little
Small
people
racers.
will fly in with parachutes, and well, it's going to be crazy because you know Randy's running it. So
Randy's crazy, yes.
So the Famoso Mob
know
is
that.
hosting, and Famoso Speed Shop, and boy, they're going to have everything. They have 24 AFX cars coming in from Arizona.
Wow.
They have the American Nostalgia West Racing guy with a team run by Dave Franklin.
Okay.
They run at Moon Eyes and up at Famoso, and the pedal car drags and the slot cars and pinups and
Based on
car show.
based on the aging of the average hot rodder today, will we have scooter races?
The little kids can bring their trikes and their wagons. We're going to do a pedal
No,
car
I was
parade.
thinking those little electric scooters that a lot of the old guys are running around on.
Those guys are dangerous. We need
Yes,
to
they
insure
are.
them because they try to run people over
Yes.
in the pits.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Put them on the drag strip. Run
We
them 60
should.
foot.
You know what? That's a fabulous idea.
Hey, we talked to Dale Snoke when we were at the SEMA show about Moon making moon discs for those.
That's awesome.
So he's thought about that.
Oh, that would be something.
So we got
Yeah.
moon. We can have moon discs. We can have Johnny Martinez might be there, and we can have him pinstripe.
That's a great
those little
idea.
what they call them, rascals.
I think so.
Yeah. So I mean, we can get into this. We can talk to M&H. Maybe they can make a set of slicks
Oh, wouldn't
for a
that be
scooter.
great?
Yeah.
That'd be
Yeah.
great. So this is, I think, footage from, I think, the 2009 event.
Yeah, we were
because
just seeing
Randy-
2009. This is a
Yeah.
bit newer now, and we'll go back to the 09. But
Randy
yes.
went on hiatus for a while, and there was such a huge call to come back that they're bringing it back, and it's going to be bigger and better, and it's going to be fun. That was Ivy DeMerita.
Now, what separates Dragfest from any old drag race?
Fun.
Yeah,
It's
fun.
pretty crazy. It's like drag racing on steroids. All nostalgia. Run what you brung. I think it's exhibition racing, so some of the older cars can come out.
Yeah.
on
And
the
as an
track.
exhibition, there's some latitude on the NHRA equipment rules
Okay, then.
because it's not a race, it is an exhibition.
Right.
So they're going to actually have a little class. It was originally sponsored by Rod and Culture, but Dragfest is going on to its own entity now. But they're going to bring out the four bangers. They're having
All
a
right.
whole little separate race of the four banger guys coming out who
Also,
run-
Forever 4.
Yeah, the Forever Four guys are coming out. They run the Antique Nationals.
Yes.
And they're going to, Clark Crump is coordinating that. They're going to come out. And
Oh,
so
that'd be great.
it's going to be so much fun.
Yeah. And that's what it's all about. There's Bob Barabbas,
Yeah.
a.k.a. Floyd Lippincott.
Ah,
he was
what do you
there.
know? How
They're
about
going to have a
it?
backup girl contest and a pinup girl contest. Those are the backup girls. They're going to...
Yeah, look at some of these old cars. Look at Tommy Ivo's. That was Tommy Ivo's car.
Man.
The great thing.
They're already coming in. They're calling in from all over the United States.
High and mighty, Paul Solis.
Yeah, Paul Solis, there he goes.
He was at Irwindale for Moon Eyes. That thing went up on the back bumper.
He was one of my first features for Old School Rods magazine.
That is just an amazing car, and he's an amazing person. Super nice guy.
Yeah.
Paul Solis. He drives that car on the street. Last Wednesday, we had the toy run at the NHRA Motorsports Museum. He drove it. He was there.
Yeah.
Man, I so tried to get into, not to change subjects, because we're still seeing, for those of us who are watching the video stream as well as listening to this radio show, but we're still showing images from the Dragfest. But, man, I tried, but I was just too late to get into as an entry into the Moon Eyes show.
Man.
But,
There's 1,000 cars there at Moon Eyes.
1,000 pre-entered car show.
Yeah, that's
Then you had another race group of 100.
amazing.
We had AFX.
Yeah.
We had exhibition runs. We had one guy made over 20 runs with a 1959 Cadillac four-door.
How about that?
It was fun as can be. I mean, he was just going lap after lap, every chance he got to go down the track. He was smoking those wide whites.
And they were lined up at 4:30 in the
Yes,
morning.
they were.
And the lot was full by 9:30.
Well, we got some people that got there a little bit later and had a little bit of difficulty getting in because it was hard to find a place to park.
Well, yeah.
So spectators were parking on the opposite side of the freeway and walking over. So they got their steps in for the day if they had a Fitbit.
Well, there you go.
Moon Eyes is now totally international. They just opened
Yes.
a Moon Cafe in Bangkok, Thailand.
Oh, wow.
And at the Yokohama show, they've got guys
They've got
coming
it
in
all
from
over the world.
Singapore with their
Yes.
motorcycles, and Indonesia. I mean, they are really doing great for promoting hot rod culture worldwide.
They are. And the Moon Eyes show in Yokohama, that was just the week before the Moon Eyes show here in California, is truly an international show.
I think you were at the show last year, right?
I was 3 years ago I went.
Okay. What?
And
Time flies.
Time flies by when you're having fun.
Yeah.
We're going to go back after talking to the guys. If we can get the same or some of the same guys that went this year to go back again next year, we're going to go because it'll be a great group. When Peg and I went 3 years ago, we really didn't know too many of the people that were on the flight. This last time, a lot of the Irwindale racers came in.
Oh.
Dale
So
Snoke was there this
Dale
year.
Snoke's there. Yeah, he wasn't there the year we were there, but Dale was working for Moon Eyes, and he was there. Ernie, the attorney,
Oh, he's a
came
good
in.
one.
He
Ernie
came in.
Allegory.
Hot Rod Holly came in.
Oh, she's fun.
She is a great lady. Nice personality, super nice lady. She was doing her pinup thing, which she just started doing. She's always had other people she's taking pictures of other people as pinups. Now she's decided she's going to be a pinup.
Hey, why not?
And she is definitely a very
She
good
does
ambassador
more.
for that.
Yeah, totally. Great,
Yeah.
great PR, bubbly, wonderful. So yeah,
Yeah.
she's involved in Dragfest.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
And that'll be great. So it's going to be a fun time at Dragfest. We'll hope to see you out there. Moon Eyes Christmas party. Well, we don't know how that's going to happen next year.
Yeah.
The Moon Eyes show in Yokohama, 26 years next year. That Shige Suganama, who's the owner of Moon, has put that on. I was honored to meet Shige when I worked in Japan for Nissan in 1988 before he purchased Moon Eyes from Dean's widow
Is that
and son.
politically incorrect right there?
Might be.
I don't know.
Nice posy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okie dokie.
There's traction from
Moving
both wheels.
right along. Yeah, double barrel.
Yeah.
So anyway, Dragfest. Put it on your calendar. It'll be in April. You got the photograph I sent you, Bruce, right? On that?
Oh.
No. Check your email.
Yeah, let's check the
Or
email.
did I? No, I didn't send it to you.
Yeah.
Well, let
what
me.
of what? Hey.
We'll get it out to you. It'll be on my Facebook page. Check out that. You can go to Stormy Bird's page. I'll put it on my page in just a couple of
I think
moments.
we have a Dragfest flyer. Don't we,
may have a Dragfest
flyer?
No?
I
Well,
think. I think I sent it to Bruce.
You did?
Uh-huh.
We'll find out.
Well, geez.
We'll have to check.
In the email. And then
I'm looking at
there's
my
a
computer while we're
pedal car
doing this.
drags poster
Pedal car
and-
drags.
Oh,
And I'm
is
gonna
that
bring
part
out-
of it? Gee, hey, well,
Part
you know
of
what?
it.
I'm going to bring out my son's pedal car.
Oh,
I bought this for him when he was a year old to give to him at his second Christmas.
there's the drag.
There's the drag
kids.
fest, the pedal car. That's going to be. That's your pedal car right there.
Well,
the
that's
one with
both
the flames.
of them, and
Both
that's
of them.
my niece and my nephew
Your niece and
actually
your-
in there.
Oh, that's so fun.
And that
we're
is
actually-
a very close picture to what they really
yeah,
look like.
they're like they're monkeys, and we are going to actually push them down the front of the grandstands, and they're literally going to race.
Cool.
And they'll get trophies and everything, and it'll be a lot of fun. And we're going to have a face painting and a place for parents to sit and rest with
good.
the kids, which the moms always love. And you can bring your trikes and your little scooters and your
All right.
wagons and your
Bring the
little
kids.
trailers.
This is family
Yeah.
friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's Pinky. That's what the girls will race. If they don't have a pedal car, they come. We just stick the
Cool.
girls in there. That we got a little
Trike.
little chopper biker guy. That's
sorry.
Wild Child.
That's Wild Child right
He
there.
would not get out of that. That's at the Rockabilly Extravaganza.
Man, what a little
And
racer that guy.
we
Oh,
got
look at the
another-
paint on
that
this thing.
55 Chevy is cool. Panel paints and all.
Yeah.
And look at that motor.
We
Yeah.
built that for West Coast Customs Cruise and Nationals
Oh,
and
man.
auctioned that off for Alzheimer's. That's my new project.
Oh, that is
That's
cool.
by Tick One.
Are you going to leave it sort of patinaed
Yeah,
like that?
that one
Oh,
we're just putting a
that's
chassis
cool
on that
idea.
one.
Oh, that'll be great.
Yeah,
we
that
like
will.
that one.
Man.
And that's another one. I think.
That's
did
one of the expensive ones. That
Well,
one's good.
actually, you can get those at Speedway Motors
Yes.
for $150.
Oh, okay.
And
Oh,
we
wow.
made one of those for the Automobile Driving Museum.
Oh, all
and
right.
for the Peterson.
Okay.
So that's a little Murray. Again, back to Pinky. So you can paint them any way you want and
Yeah.
bring the kids out.
All right.
so
Hey,
much
Bruce,
fun.
can we load up a Moon Eyes commercial?
Yeah, let's do it. In
Let's
fact,
do the
we'll,
Moon Eyes.
we'll load up a couple of things here.
All
A little
right.
bit of music to take us into that.
And then we'll come back for the last 10 or so minutes of Gas, the great American auto scene. We're glad you're tuning in. I'm Hot Rod Bob, along with Anna Octane and Bruce Barker. We're here. You got gas.
Actually, you've got gas. I don't have gas. I'm
Yeah,
octane.
Peg's been talking to me about that.
No,
actually.
no, no, no.
I got to change my diet.
TMI.
A little too much salad, roughage.
Lord. You know what? Go green.
I did. That's the problem.
All right. Here's Moon Eyes, great American auto scene.
In the world of speed, the dragster ranks as the #1 choice of youngsters with a touch of daring and adventure in their blood. For a few fleeting seconds on a quarter-mile strip, the driver enters another world, crosses over into a new frontier. But a record-shattering adventure on the hot quarter-mile is more than a simple endeavor of one man. It takes a mechanic, a driver, a designer, and the assembled knowledge of the many manufacturing concerns who cater exclusively to speed requirements. Thousands of parts come together in one master plan to create a dragster built to perform according to the ideas of the designer, tuned by the mechanic, and guided by the firm hand of the driver. And so, the personality of a dragster emerges. A personality known as Moon Eye. It has been said that drag racing is 95% work and 5% driving. The driver pays for his brief moment of speed with a tedious list of things to be done before the car can make another run. Safety chute repacking usually takes the longest and requires the help of a number of people. here at Pomona, California, driver Gary Cagle and owner Dean Moon prepare Moon Eyes for a very special trip down the quarter-mile strip, the final run, for Moon Eyes is retiring. Built by Dean Moon as a quarter-mile test bench for the many speed products he manufactures or distributes, Moon Eyes has hung up an impressive record in speed. Winner in class at the NHRA Nationals in Indianapolis and again at the Winter Nationals in Pomona, Moon Eyes has scored with top speed records of 163.09 miles per hour and an elapsed time of 8 98/100 seconds. Last-minute plug inspection and Moon Eyes is ready to pull up on the line, ready to unleash the power in the 300 cubic inch blown engine in one last burst of speed. Over and Moon Eyes has retired. At the drag strip, the car is loaded on the trailer for the beginning of a long journey with many stops. Moon Eyes will never run again, but it'll still live in polished beauty as a traveling showpiece, an example of the high craftsmanship of modern speed merchants. Purchased from Dean Moon by the Revell Model Manufacturing Company, Moon Eyes will live for many years to come, not only as a traveling exhibit, but as a 1/25th scale model available in hobby and toy shops throughout the nation. When you see Moon Eyes today, listen carefully. You may still hear the cheering crowd and the thunder of that last final run.
All right, welcome back to Gas, the Great American Auto Scene, here on the Great American Auto Scene. Aww. And we're coming to you live and direct from our studios here in North Hollywood, California. And we showed Anna's nephews and niece in their car. This is my son. This is the year he outgrew his pedal car, but that's the pedal car we used to pull him around with. We didn't have a stroller, so what I would do is he had to steer and keep his feet off the ground, and I tied a rope around the steering column and around my waist and pulled him. And the trailer behind him was good enough for brochures and other goodies we picked up, and a six-pack. Pepsi's.
Oh, yeah, Pepsi's.
Pepsi's in the back. Well, it really was Pepsi's, guys. I don't drink. So we put, it was perfect to fit a Pepsi or a six-pack of Pepsi's and some other stuff, and I built the trailer for him and restored that old Murray. This shot is about 31 years ago, 31, 32 years ago.
Isn't that amazing?
You got to bring that to Drag Fest.
I will. It's a little beat up because it was used by a kid.
That's awesome, though.
But it was a fun little car. I gave it to him when he was 2 years old. And that shot, he's about 6.
Did you know that Dean Moon just got inducted into the International Drag Racing Hall of Fame in 2017?
Does he know that?
I'm sure his spirit knows that.
His son probably knows it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Dean Jr.'s. We saw Gene, as a matter of fact, had dinner with Dean Jr. and all the people from Moon this last Sunday. Right after a day after the Moon Christmas party, and Dean Jr. was there, and it was kind of nice to see him.
What's he doing these days?
No one knows.
Just having dinner with you?
He was, well, not necessarily with me. He was with the Moon group. We were having dinner with the Moon Eyes guys. Moon pies.
Moon pies?
Moon pies. No, we had.
Ooh, What's that?
I love Bruce Larson's car.
Yeah, we had a bunch of photos sent over. Thanks, Bobby Schlegel, for sending these over. Big
Our
event.
East Coast correspondent.
Yeah, indeed. And the big car show at Bruce Larson's, I don't want to call it a ranch, at his digs, I believe it was. And so there's just tons of great images here. You know, interesting, this was, of course, East Coast, but notice the Dragfest logo in the lower right there.
Oh,
So,
look at that. Nostalgia Drag Fest,
Where's
USA
that at?
1.
That's a different drag fest.
That's the one back in Bobby's neck of the woods.
Okay.
Yeah. So, boy, lots of fine cars here. Or
Look
fine
at the angle of the injectors on that thing.
I know.
That's sexy.
And this was a funny car. This was the days when you actually knew what the car was.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's one of the things I miss about today's drag racing is you can look at a funny car and you know what it is because of the logos, but you have no idea what it is without the logos.
And this happened to, street just passenger cars 20
Yeah.
years ago when you had, is that a Honda or is that a Chevy Malibu? You know,
Yeah.
they stopped being distinctive shapes. But yes, you're right. In funny car racing, it's a bit more recent of a phenomenon, but it has taken hold where it's like, okay, now you've got the body, put the stickers on to
Yeah.
identify what the car is.
So we know what it is. Now, this is great. Look at this 32 to 34 Ford pickup trucks. They looked almost identical. There's some differences in them.
Man.
And this is a flopper, I guess one of Bruce Larson's Camaro funny cars.
Yeah, look at that.
And that's even as a funny car, you knew what it was. It looked like a Camaro.
Sure, the shape was all there.
And the Corvette.
Yeah. It's a bit more of a modern funny car vibe. Where
Well, that's where they started getting a little bit more swoopy. The wheelbases got stretched, they got narrowed a bit.
Yeah.
But you still knew what it was. It's especially look at that Plymouth Arrow.
yeah,
No question, it's a Plymouth Arrow.
that's right. Yeah. Oh man. So I know that, there's tons of images here. We'll just kind of skate through it real quick. Wanted to make sure we got some of this on the air.
Yeah, look at the great cars. I mean, a nice four-door Chevy. That's one of the things, too, is when you go back east from here. We're in Southern California. When you go to the east, a lot of different cars were popular there than here. Here it was primarily Fords and Chevrolets. Now, that's a Chevy. There were a lot of different cars there. Look at these twin-engine cars.
Yeah, wow. Tommy Ivo could have owned
That's
this.
wicked.
Yeah, Tommy's twin engine was a side-by-side.
That's
Brabus-
right.
Yeah, and that one's look at that thing. That looks like a flathead with 2 spark plugs per cylinder.
Man, some sort of special heads.
The
on
Midnight Express. So that's kind of an interesting body shape for that era.
Yeah.
And it's got the pie crust slicks on it, white walls.
it. Yeah. Oh, that's.
But
so
yeah, that's a flathead Ford. Those are twin flathead Fords
Wow.
with 2 spark plugs per cylinder.
That's a beast.
That is cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
That is beyond cool.
Oh man.
I mean, those are neat. And some of the cars that have lasted over the years. Nice little Pontiac GTO.
Yeah.
Gratiot Auto Supply. Now, that was one of the first rear-engined funny cars.
And something about this is familiar. I wonder if I built this model as a kid or something.
I don't know. Gratiot Auto Supply was in Detroit, and they were like the Summit and the Jegs of the time. And I believe they're still in business. But they put the Chevy V8 right behind.
Man. Well, now, and there was the Thunderbolt in
Yeah.
this general year. This is not one I believe.
No, that's a 63 Galaxy. The Thunderbolt was based on the Fairlane, came out in 1964.
Okay, yeah. It was that same era. Similar looking car, I think. Thunderbolt was shorter, smaller.
Yeah, it was based on the Fairlane, and it was a smaller car. It was their mid-size car.
Yeah.
Look at that. That's neat. Look at this 32 Ford
Man.
with looks like a Chevy. Another 32.
And there's a dog. He's probably about a
He's
6.
guarding the car.
Yeah. He's an 06 dog.
06 Dogland, aluminum head V8. Nice 66, 67, I believe, Ford convertible.
Yeah.
64 Malibu alongside it.
Yeah.
Look at
Beautiful.
this, the grass area. This is just a gorgeous area.
I think they get a little more rain than Southern California does.
Well, yeah, and they got a lot more humidity all year round.
Well, yeah, so that's a plus and a minus right there. It can be tougher to keep the surfaces of a car clean from, the rust spotting that tends to occur after a while.
Yeah.
But anyway, great stuff there at the Bruce Larson event. So just wanted to get a few of those photos in. I know we're short on showtime today, guys.
We are, and we've got a lot of guys that have been commenting on the show on Facebook. Hot Rod Holly's been watching, Joe Walla, Randy Cardoon, Pete Muriello, funny car guy.
Excellent. By the way, I wanted to finally get the cover art here for the Drag Fest upcoming to 2018, so we're finally seeing it on the air.
Yeah, well, and I got a shout out to Randy Cardoon. He's singing, which is, I don't know if Marta can handle that. He's going, Me and My Arrow.
Oh,
and he's singing that when he saw the Arrow funny car.
Gee. I wonder if when they were advertising that car, they must have used that song, but I don't honestly know for sure.
I don't know. And Pete's trying to talk to us about doing a Pete Muriello funny car driver. He's got a Vega funny car, part of the Sifka group. He wants us to do a show on early 60s vans. We might think about that. That'll be a cool one for January.
That would be sweet.
So we might do that.
You know that in Japan they love Vegas and Gremlins. They love all kinds of cool, neat old cars.
Pintos?
Yeah. Vans are good. We should do something on vans.
I think so.
Kobe
especially
Gerwitz of Church Magazine has a gorgeous van.
Well,
that was over at Moon Eyes this year.
And the whole the forward control idea. I know even Jeep had one that was, I think it was more of a truck. But the Econolines and the Chevy, the Corvair van. What was it? The Greenbrier, I think.
Yeah, the Greenbrier was the window version.
Right, and you just sat way in the front on those things, and
it was a cab over basically.
Yeah, which it's a cool shape.
Well, there was a guy that showed up at Pomona a couple of years ago with a Corvair pickup. The van with the pickup with the ramp side.
Yeah,
they called them because the side door came down and it was actually a ramp. He had a V8 stuffed right behind the driver's compartment.
Wow.
Man.
But we'll have to get into that another time, Bruce. We have just run out of time. Look
at
that.
I can't understand it here.
All right, we got Gas, the Great American Auto Scene. This is our last show of the 2017 season. We're going to take off for the holidays. I want you to have a very merry holiday, a happy holiday, whether it's Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate or observe. Please enjoy the holidays. Keep it real. Keep it safe. We'll see you in January, second week of January. We'll be back with Gas, the Great American Auto Scene.